Now, a lot of you may know, some of you may not know, that I ran my first ever marathon in Manchester around 2 weeks ago. Come on. And we are done. But a lot of you may not know that way back in November, way before I was training for this marathon, I got an injury on my hamstring. More specifically, it was a proximal hamstring tendinopathy or high hamstring tendinopathy. And after speaking to my physio, what this meant was the wonderful training plan filled with hopes and dreams and tempo runs and intervals was completely scrapped. So from day one of my marathon training, I had no intervals, no tempo running. It was all easy running. And yes, we had regular catch-ups throughout the training program just to see how my legs were doing, to see if I could put any intervals in there. And ultimately, no. I just had to do easy running from day one to race day. And as you've probably seen, I got to my marathon and I completed my marathon. So really what I'm trying to say is that yes, intervals and tempo running is very good. It's very integral to any training program. But if you cannot do them, it is not the end of the world. There was a lot of despair and anxiety from me at the very beginning. But what my physio tried to get me to focus on was to stop focusing on what you cannot change and focus on what you can change. So I couldn't change my injury, it had happened. But what I could change was how I deal with that injury, how I recover from that injury, how I can keep running with that injury and get to my marathon and complete it. And that saying is what got me through my whole program. It's what got me to the marathon in Manchester. It's what got me to that finish line. If you are new to running or you're training for your first race, no matter what distance it is, your number one goal is to complete the race. It should always be that. Yes, of course, you will have a time in mind, everyone does. But your number one goal should be getting to that finish line and getting that medal. And if your number one goal is to complete the race, then interval and tempo training is not so important. What is important is running consistently. Consistently getting out there every week and putting some miles in your legs. That will always be the most important thing. Interval training and tempo training becomes more important when you have a goal in mind, when you have a PB that you're chasing, when you have a target time. That is where you do want to focus on your speed and where you do want to integrate some intervals, some speed sessions in your training program. And going back to my already changed training program, on top of that, to make things worse, a month out from my marathon, I got another injury on the same leg, this time in the ankle. Specifically, it was a posterior tibial tendonitis problem, which runs on the inside of the ankle. And once again, this meant I had to change my training program. Essentially, the mileage dipped, but I increased a lot of spinning activities, biking activities, that sort of thing. And look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Your training program most likely will not go your way 100% of the time. There's always going to be something that goes wrong, and the severity of that differs from person to person, from experience to experience. And I'm not saying that to scare anyone, to stop anyone from running. It's just the reality. There's so many obstacles that you come across when you're training for any type of running race. But the most important thing is your attitude to those challenges, to those obstacles. What can you do to drive yourself forward, to keep pushing, to achieve your goals? And many runners will say that yes, the physical side is very important, but a lot of it is to do with your mentality, with your mind. And this is just another example of that. And of course, all of this is a lot easier said than done. It takes a lot of determination, a lot of strength to push through to achieve what you want. But if it was easy, we'd all be doing it. And let's say you're in the same situation that I had, where you can only do easy runs for your training. Does that mean you can't get faster? Of course not. You can definitely get faster by just doing easy runs, because you're building those foundations. You're building that aerobic base. My easy running pace has made leaps and bounds from this training program. And my final message for when things do get tough is to simply not give up. Do not give up on your goals and your dreams, because it's getting tough. That is when you really need to dial in, where you really need to focus. As always, when you're unsure about things, consult a professional, for example a physio if you're injured, and focus on the things that you can control, and you will achieve all your dreams and all your goals. So do not give up. I've been the Average Joe, and I shall see you next time.